Okay, come here. Let's talk about the one thing that everybody has, but nobody wants to admit. The pimple that won't go away no matter how hard I scrub my boot. No, debt, okay? I'm talking about debt. 90% of Americans have some type of debt, but there's so much shame around talking about it, even though it's a literal life-saving tool that a lot of us need to survive these crushing financial systems. So today on Berna Explains It All, we're gonna be covering some of the most common questions that I always hear about debt, like, does checking your credit score hurt it? Should you consolidate your debt? If you just pay the minimum every month, you should be good, right? Short answer, sometimes, maybe, and no. Okay, get cozy. Before we dive in, quick reminder, this is not financial advice. This is for edutainment purposes only. I am not your financial advisor. I am your weird rich auntie. Always follow up with a financial professional for your specific questions, especially when it comes to debt. So your mother, not me. Okay, let's move on. If you're scared to check your credit score because you're afraid you're gonna hurt it, you're not crazy. You would be surprised how many people avoid their credit score for this exact reason. And honestly, that fear does make sense because the way you check your credit score can impact your score. And then your score can impact a lot of things. Housing, cars, even utilities. They're freaking looking at your credit all the time now. So it's no wonder you feel a little anxious about touching it at all. And can we just talk about the annoying fact that checking your credit can affect your credit negatively? At all. I'm doing my homework. Why am I being punished for trying to be financially healthy? I side eye you, financial systems, but avoiding your credit score does not protect you. It limits your options. We got to look at it to leverage it and live our best financial life. So anytime you think somebody's about to check your credit, pull a Billie Eilish and ask them if they're going to hit you hard or soft. A soft pull is like a little boop on the nose. It happens when you check your own credit or when you're getting pre-qualified for a loan or a credit card. It's soft, it's gentle, it's no damage, it's nice. A hard pull is like a pinch under the arm from mom, okay? It stings. That's when a lender is actually checking your credit. And it usually happens when you're applying for a new line of credit like a credit card or a loan or a mortgage. And it can knock your score down around 5 points for 1 to 2 years. Your mileage may vary. You pay your credit card minimum every month. So why isn't the balance going down? That moment is enough to make anybody feel defeated. But that doesn't mean that you are bad at money. That is the system working exactly as it's designed. We've all been there, right? Your balance is like $1,000, but your bank is like, oh, don't even worry about it, babe. Just give me $25 this month. And you're like, okay, I love that journey for me. But then come next month and your balance, it's more than you started with. What? Minimum payments make you feel like you're doing something, but it's like trying to empty a sinking boat with a Barbie bucket, like a thimble. Paying down your credit cards for real requires more money and more strategy. You know that relief you feel after making your minimum payment? Yeah, that's a psychological trap. You in danger, girl. When you only pay the minimum on a credit card, interest basically fights you. That's why you can pay the minimum every month and still feel stuck. You're treading water as opposed to moving forward. Best practice whenever possible is to pay your credit card off in full each month to avoid interest completely. That's hard, obviously. So if you can't do that, use a free debt calculator online and make a plan to pay more than the minimum every month, even if it's just a smidge more. Because we don't need to give capitalism any more of our hard-earned dollars if we don't have to. Making minimum payments is not a personal failure, okay? It's data. It's a sign that something deeper in your cash flow needs attention. Shame? That's not going to pay your bills, but data, we can work with data. Are you in so much debt that you're paying your electric bill with your credit card? Of course, you're looking for some relief. That's why debt consolidation sounds so appealing. Most of us have like 5 different debts that we're juggling at one time, all with different balances and different due dates. Student loans, car payment, medical debt, emotional debt. Surviving is expensive, okay? And debt consolidation promises to roll all of that into one simple payment. And when your brain's already fried, simple sounds really nice. But consolidation is not for everyone, and it's definitely not a magical reset button. Like all things in our financial systems, if it sounds too good to be true, you absolutely need to give it a closer look. If you're thinking about consolidating your debt, you gotta ask yourself these 3 questions. First, does the math? Are you getting a lower interest rate and a monthly payment that you can realistically afford? Now, if your credit score is already below 600, you might not get offered the best rates. I know it's second. Watch the fees, okay? Balance transfer fees, origination fees, all these little gotchas can quietly eat up your savings. And third, can your credit score handle a hard pull? Because consolidation does come with a hard pull, and that can matter if your financial situation is already stretched. If consolidation buys you breathing room and it improves your math, then great. If it doesn't, and it just makes things feel simpler, pause, okay? Re-rack. I was gonna say I will die on this hill, but I've already died on it several times, okay? At this point, I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost hunting debt hill. Debt is a life-saving tool and a double-edged sword. And debt is often our only option for survival and growth in a financial system that is not set up for our success. Pair that with the fact that we aren't encouraged to talk about it, in fact, often shamed out of talking about it, And you see why debt has 90% of Americans all fucked up. Imagine like 9 out of 10 people smelling the same fart in a room and nobody says anything. But having debt has absolutely nothing to do with who we are as people, what our morals are, and what we're capable of. And the more we normalize talking about it, the more we can shave off the shame and actually start answering questions and getting answers and starting to crawl out of these butthole systems together. That's it for this episode of Berna Explains It All. If you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe. That's what the cool kids say, right? If you want to know more about debt, you have other questions, or any other financial situation at all, let me know in the comments. I read them all. I answer them all because I like you.